Hello and welcome to Montgomery County Police Beat. I'm Patrick Lacefield, Director of Montgomery County's Office of Public Information. I'm here today with Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger to discuss current issues from the perspective of our police force. Chief Manger, welcome.
Nice to see you as always.
Let's talk a little bit today about other police forces that are in the county. We know we have the county police, but there are also municipal police, there are park police, there's sheriffs. Let's begin. Can you delineate, for example, some of the differences in responsibilities, for example, between the police and the sheriff?
Yeah, the Sheriff's Department has actually been around for hundreds of years in Montgomery County. It was 1922 when the county decided to form the police department. And since that time, the police department has had the responsibility for delivery of what people think of as typical police service, responding to call 911 calls, that sort of thing. The Sheriff's Department actually has the same law enforcement authority as the police department, and in fact they have authority to enforce civil processes, and that's really where most of their responsibility lies, in serving court processes, enforcing protective orders, and they certainly are partner with us in combating domestic violence, from the civil end of it. So the Sheriff's Department will deal with court security and enforce civil processes, neither one of which the police department has authority to do. So that's basically the way things sort of divide in terms of responsibilities.
So before the police force was founded here in 1922, as you said, that was the sheriff's responsibility.
Sheriffs did all the law enforcement.
It's like the old Wild West
county.
towns. The sheriff was the law, so to speak.
Yes, yes, they were.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we also have a number of municipalities. Well, first of all, how many officers are there in the Sheriff's Department?
Sheriff's Department has over 100 sheriff's deputies.
Okay.
Darren Popkin is
the elected
sheriff. Terrific guy, great partner. The Sheriff's Department and the Police Department work well together in Montgomery County from top to bottom.
Right. Now, some of the other police forces, for example, what are the municipalities that have police forces? About how many officers?
We actually have four municipalities within Montgomery County: the City of Rockville, City of Gaithersburg, City of Tacoma Park, and Chevy Chase Village has a small department. There's about 8 officers in Chevy Chase Village. They provide great service to the folks that live in Chevy Chase Village. We work well with all of these departments. They're on our radio frequency, so when we're dispatching folks, we'll dispatch a Gaithersburg City officer or a Rockville City officer. Now, Tacoma Park is the exception. The Tacoma Park Police Department is more just sort of they call us when they need us. In the other 3 municipalities, we work side by side with them, delivering police service.
And about how many members are there of the other police forces?
All 3 of the larger municipalities, Gaithersburg, Rockville, and Tacoma Park, have anywhere from 50 to 60, maybe a few more police officers in their jurisdictions.
Now, do they have the authority to enforce law outside of their jurisdictions? In other words, can they lend a helping hand? Let's say they see somebody speeding, but it's a Gaithersburg police officer and he's not in Gaithersburg.
Right. We have memorandums of agreement with each one of these departments, and we certainly have mutual aid capability if we need their help or they need our help. There's a very easy process for us to assist one another. Typically, the officers with the city police departments don't do a great deal outside the city. They certainly will assist us if we need the help. But typically it's a situation where in the day-to-day sorts of things, response to 911 calls, we are working side by side with them. The good news is for the folks that live in the cities, especially Gaithersburg and Rockville, is when you do a 911 call, you've got both departments that can respond and that do in fact respond. Again, the City of Tacoma Park,
it's more independent.
Yeah, it's more independent. They'll call us when they need us, and in fact, they do occasionally call us. The good news is with all of these departments, the relationships we have with them are terrific. I mean, I know each one of the chiefs personally, and in fact, the chief in Tacoma Park, Chief Goldberg, is actually a retired captain from the Montgomery County Police Department. So there's great relationships that are built in with all these municipalities. The chief in Chevy Chase Village, Chief John Fitzgerald, is a retired captain from Montgomery County as well. So we've got those built-in relationships with these departments, and as well as the memorandums of agreement. So it's amazing how smoothly things work day to day.
Right. And as you say, the technology is the same. They're on our radio.
They're on our radio frequencies. They can hear what's dispatched. In fact, our dispatchers often are assigning some of those units to different calls for service. They also have their own communications capability as well, but all of it is shared communication. And I think from incidents that occurred years ago, it certainly was an important issue for everyone to be able to hear what's going on in the surrounding areas, and not have these, an officer in one jurisdiction, who could be, 30 seconds away from something occurring in another jurisdiction, have no idea what's going on because they couldn't hear each other on the radio. So all that's been fixed for many, many years, and it is the best practice in terms of the way of doing business.
Now, the Montgomery County Police Department has a number of sort of specialty units or departments. Is that mirrored in the municipalities, just on a smaller scale, or do they depend on you for some of those specialties?
A little of both. I mean, the municipality, some municipalities, Gaithersburg, Rockville, certainly have specialized capabilities. They do a great job in terms of public information and forensics and some of these things. But we have our own lab. No, none of these other departments have their own lab.
So they depend on you for that. Yeah.
There are times when you might have require an emergency response to a situation, i.e. a SWAT team.
Right.
And sometimes our SWAT team will be called versus someone who either like Chevy Chase Village, who does not have an emergency response team, or the others are busy or not available. Canine is another specialty that you need every day. You need the dogs to help searches and that sort of thing. Some the other jurisdictions may have one dog, but we've got over a dozen. So if we've got more than one incident going, clearly we can we have those capabilities, and we share them with all the jurisdictions.
Right. Now let's talk about park police for a minute. A couple of years ago, the county executive proposed, for efficiency and also for cost effectiveness, merging the park police into the Montgomery County Police. The county council declined to take up that offer or that proposal. What's your working relationship with the Parks Police, and what are the jurisdictions there?
Well, we have a great working relationship with them. It was certainly a little strained during that time when we were looking at the consolidation issue. But the fact is that the cops working together on the street continued to work together, and we do have a good relationship with them today. They have primary jurisdiction for all of the park property, and it's amazing to look at, when you look at a map of the county, how much park property we have. And there are some huge parks where they have, where they spend a lot of their time. There are also little tiny parks, that are just little slivers of land.
But nevertheless, a problem can happen.
They can.
It doesn't take much territory for a problem to happen.
Right. But we have we have a memorandum of agreement with them about jurisdiction, and it's not like if something happens in a park that a Montgomery County police officer can't take action. I mean, they can. And if a park police officer sees something, say they're driving from one park to another, and they see something occurring outside a park, they certainly have authority to take action if need be. So we've got all those things worked out, and again, it works so smoothly. I mean, really, one of the reasons that we have such a terrific relationship with all of these agencies is that we all train together. Right. These folks go through the Montgomery County Police Academy.
For all the municipalities,
right,
and also for the Parks Police?
Yes,
Right.
and so we've got the same training. We have, so when we respond to these incidents, you know what to expect from, another officer there, because we have trained together in the past, and we share information. We meet regularly with these departments on crime issues and on other issues. So the good news is that the relationships are there. They're built in. So when something does happen, things really flow smoothly, which is the most important thing, because the public should not ever have to suffer because you've got
something's
turf
not
battle.
fitting together, right? Yeah.
And that's not the case in Montgomery County.
Now, what about crimes or activities having to do with metro stations, metro buses? Where's the jurisdiction there?
Well, we had, and I know I sound like a broken record, but we've got a great relationship with the Metro Transit Police. And what we've done is we've agreed that, for something that occurs at the station, I mean, we both can respond to it if it's an emergency and we need that response. But we typically will take jurisdiction on some things that happen outside the station, like in the parking lot or in the areas outside the station. If something happens within the station or on a train, Metro Transit will have primary responsibility for it. But again, I mean, if you've got, we had an incident a couple years ago where we had a shooting right down at the Rockville station, Rockville Metro Station, and everybody responded. We were able to make a quick arrest in the case because the response was so quick from both jurisdictions.
Now, what are the mechanisms you have in place for cooperation with neighboring jurisdictions? Let's say Prince George's, the district, Virginia jurisdictions, but I guess particularly people who border on us.
That is in some ways a little bit more complicated, because you do have some legal restrictions in terms of your jurisdiction. Certainly, when we go out of the state of Maryland, we have no jurisdiction. But the Council of Governments, the COG in the Washington, D.C. region, has really made sure that we've got not only good communication within the region, but that we have good information sharing in terms of crime and crime trends. And so we meet, all the police chiefs meet once a month downtown at the Council of Governments to talk about what's going on in our own jurisdiction. And so it makes for a very cooperative relationship. And the bottom line is it benefits the public because there is that information sharing.
Great. Well, we're out of time today. I'm Patrick Lacefield here with Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger. Thanks for watching, and please join us again next month for another edition of Montgomery County Police Beat.